Edwina B here, free to hope conversation with Miss Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. I am so happy with myself. I am so proud of myself. I am in love with myself. I'm in love with my God. I'm in love with this journey called life. Why? Because I apply spiritual tools, resources, and principles to all earthly matters, including not having my dentures, not combing my hair, no makeup on, no fingernails on. Why? Because it's all about the spirit that is living within this vessel. And so it doesn't matter what this looks like. What matters is what spirit is coming through to manifest God's power and what he is able, going, and blessed to do. So with that, he woke me up this morning, said, rise, Edwina. There's somebody else, one day at a time. I'm going to give you somebody else just to touch, to let them know and let them see what I am able to do. Once they have that knee bowing experience, they may know they need me, Edwina, but like you, they know they need to want me. And so I give him the honor, the praise, the glory, the hallelujah, the worship, but most importantly, the acknowledgement. I'm going to tell you, I'm already emotional. I am emotional this morning for a number of reasons. However, let me get through this because the tears are trying to bust out, right? And I'm going to let them, believe me. But because my God chose me 34 plus years ago from underneath a parked car, 3 o'clock in the morning in Philadelphia, Mount Airy section. I was getting high with and doing all kinds of sexual favors for my own stepson. Him and I was suffering from mental illness, obviously, and definitely an addiction. Why else would we engage in such horrific acts, right? One thing that I have learned, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I've also learned that anything that has happened to me, going on right now with me, and will happen to me, have been waiting for me. Why? Because the author of my spirit has my blueprint, has the steps that he has ordered for me, and who would have ever thought that I would be sitting here before you on June the 11th, 2024, from underneath a parked car. But God. So, y'all know what I do. Let me get these things out. The first thing I want to acknowledge, right, is the whole point of me having these podcasts, these workshops, these events, is to let you know, right, free. I am so free. I am so hopeful. I have so much faith, more than I ever did in my entire life. Why? Because I've been set free. From recovery, I have emerged empowered for the purpose of giving hope to others, help others prosper equally. If it was not for my knee-bowing experience, that early morning on February the 22nd, I would not be sitting here before you right now as I am. Transparency and authenticity is my rule of thumb right now. And so, welcome to the Free to Hope conversation with me. Miss Cuckoo Cocoa Pops. I tell you, boy. And so, as a result of the spiritual principles, tools, and resources, the God that I didn't know, heard about, but didn't know personally, on that early morning, I cried out to him, whoever they say you are, take me out this life now or show me a better way. I haven't looked back since. Okay. And so, one of the reasons why I go back and look back is for the purpose of helping somebody else, for the purpose of checking my reference book. Everything that I have done, right, and said and thought, right, and felt is in my reference book. Many of you know I kept a journal for the first 4 years of my recovery. And as a result of keeping that journal, I can go back to those 4 years from 1990 to 1993 and find out what thoughts, ideas, and behaviors I had, but what spiritual tools I have applied to be where I am now, which goes to God. He gets all the credit. Now, one of the reasons why I know that my God chose me, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt now. Didn't quite understand it before, but I sure know a lot better now because of what I was allowed to go through, right? Was preparing me to be sitting here and sharing with you how this all evolved, right? Now, this platform that I'm on, I would have never ever imagined me being in front of you just the way I am to talk about the power, the awesomeness of our Creator. And because of this new and evolved social platform, I don't know who's watching. I don't know. Some of you may say hi, Edwina, like Tandy and other people, you know, Sandy and my friends, Jay Macklin and AJ Harding. But other than that, I don't know. However, when I walk through the streets, some people will stop me and say, aren't you that lady? Aren't you? Well, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you, how much you have helped me, how much you have helped my son, my daughter, how much you have showed us that we are broken and we are broke, but because of what you share on those podcasts, in your book, on your TV talk show, in the news articles you write, we do recover. We do recover. But if I didn't have these platforms, you would never know anything about me. And so I need to share with you this morning, this podcast, who God used to make this all possible. Okay, you know, so listen, I'm gonna do the reading today, right? But I first need to do something else. Right. Now, I'm not even going to talk about my class. What I'm going to talk about is this man right here. Yesterday, I attended the Community Communications board meeting. And I know Instagram, y'all can't see what is being shown on the screen. However, it says Edwina Bell, Doctor of Ministry candidate, new executive director of Community Communications Corporation, replacing the late Reverend Dr. Benjamin Trimby Brown. And on the screen, I have a picture of Twin and myself, and in the middle are our hands. This picture was taken downstairs in my den that was converted to a bedroom where twin lived there until he transitioned. And one of the things that I recognize when I yield to the Spirit and I apply all spiritual tools, resources, and principles to all earthly matters, right? I know the outcome will be, going to be, destined to be spiritual in nature, right? And so the topic today is family obligations, right? And so I just need to share with you how we never know who our God is going to choose to be with us in our most crucial times in our lives, right? And so this segment, I'm going to share the story of how Benjamin Trimby Brown, right, was led by God to have me, prepare me, mold and shape me to be sitting here before you, sharing just the way I am, but most importantly, sharing what my God, our God, has done for me in order to help somebody else. Okay? So now, whew, Lord, I love you. Wait. I need a drink. I need a drink of coffee. Y'all hold on right there. Hold on. And I find myself getting a little hot. So I'm gonna take this robe off, right? Woo! Jesus, Lord, I love you. Okay. Now, okay. Oh, yes, Lord, yes. Family obligation, right? When I relocated from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, after spending 9 months in a recovery community, I was brought to Newark, Delaware, where my late husband, Paul Bell, relocated us from Philly to here. He did not want me to go back to Philly, right? I only had 9 months in recovery at the time, with the hope and the plan to do a year, but God saw fit because he knew how much work I had done in those 9 months to prepare me for something that I've never experienced before, okay? And so coming back, being relocated to Newark, Delaware, I attended my 12-step meetings. I got a sponsor, a sponsor was given to me. I got a home group. I did everything that was required for me to do to continue my recovery process, right? And I also recognized that in order for me to stay sober one day at a time, but also to apply spiritual tools, resources, and principles so that I can be prepared for things yet to come that were unbeknownst to me, right? And so my late husband, Paul Bell, died in my arms in our living room down on 23A Florence Circle in Newark, Delaware. Just to show you how my God just amazingly to me, natural for him, there's not even a word for it, right? But you'll see the point that I'm making. So I'm laying in bed with my late husband, Paul Bell, and I am holding him in my arms and thanking him for what he has done for me. And helping me cross over from addiction to recovery. God used him that way, right? And so when I thanked Paul and I let him know that I was going to be all right, I wanted to let him know that I appreciate so dearly what he had done to help me in my recovery process, right? And so I also know that when a person transitions, right, hearing is the last thing that goes. So I was able to share with him all that I was feeling and how grateful I was. And yes, tears started trickling from his eyes. So I knew he heard me. So I relocate to Wilmington, Delaware, and I was blessed to have a brand new home built from the ground up, 2612 Zebley Place, right? And I moved there with by myself, right? Because my children were visiting, but not a part of my life at that time. So we're talking about 34 years ago, right? So anyway, I'm in my bed and I am flicking the channels with this remote, and I come across this channel, people sitting there talking, and this man was interviewing them. And a thought came across my mind and said, I wonder what it's like to be on TV. That's all I said, right? I had no idea that thought would manifest itself sooner than I thought, right? So, in working with the city of Wilmington, I got a job through the temp agency as a data entry clerk for the word processing division for the city of Wilmington. And as a result of me working there, I was an individual who was so grateful to have come so far in such a little bit of time, right? In my recovery process, because I know that I did not want to go underneath that parked car ever again. And so as a result, I remember people in the mayor's office that was on the top floor, and the persons that I worked with in word processing, Wayne Paskowitz, he was a recovering person. I didn't know at the time, but he headed up the employee assistance program, and I became a part of that. So I had a happy-go-lucky attitude. I always went to work early. I was always cheer. I was always me. How about that, right? And so I participated in a lot of AA activities, and one of them was the AA forum on WLIM, right, radio station with John Watson, the late John Watson. And so with the AA forum, I was able to give a brief testimony of myself and how the 12-step program and my higher power allowed me to live so that I can touch someone else who is suffering from addiction and or mental illness, right? So one day I got into the elevator, and this tall man came in, and good morning, good morning. He said, what's your name? I said, Edwina Bell. And he said, Edwina, were you the young lady that was on that radio thing the other day? I was like, why you want to know? Why you want to know? He said, well, I have a community channel 28, and I believe after hearing your story that you need to share that story to the public. I was like, huh? Yes. They need to hear that people with your disease and your challenges, that you get better, you do recover. he said, I would love for you to come and, share your story on my TV show. I was like to myself, oh, hell no, 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 right? And he said, I was like, he said, I tell you what, just think about it. I said, okay. So let me fast forward. Within that year, I prayed about it. I talked to my sponsor. I talked to other people about it. And the Spirit said, okay. I mean, yes. And every time he would check with me, he said, you ready? I was like, no. He said, you ready? Give me a little more time. You ready? And then one day he said, are you ready? I said, yes, I'm ready. And because of the city of Philadelphia and the franchise federal CCC, federal, communications franchise, right, had to develop a contract with the city to have a community talk show that focused on what they call PEG, public education, and I forget what the other. Government. Okay, so I ain't got but a few more minutes, but I'm not gonna rush this today, right? Because it's so important. Woo, Lord, I love you. And so I'm gonna tell you, when Twin, I call him Twin, asked me to come to the studio, and one of the board members of CCC, Naila Gilliam, right? She was the person that interviewed me. And so I'm in the studio and there's cameras, there's lights, there's this, there's that, and I'm nervous as I don't know what, right? But anyway, so I remember the cameraman saying, we're going to count down to 5 and we're going to say action. I said, okay. He said, this is your camera, da, 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 da. No problem. I'm nervous as I don't know what, y'all, right? So he goes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. I said, cut. He said, what's the matter? I said, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, all nervous and jittery and everything. Come back out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. I was like, cut. I go into the bathroom again. I said, Lord, I can't do this. If this is what you want me to do, help me, please. And the Spirit revealed to me, Edwina, just go out there, open your mouth, and that's all you got to do. So I go back, and they said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. And I began to share. Still nervous, but began to walk through the fear. And so Benjamin Twin B. Brown saw how transparent and authentic I was after that show. And a week later, he said, we got so many responses about who that young lady is. We need to hear more about her. And Twin offered me a 3-minute segment every Sunday called Commentaries, right? And so I would type up the commentaries and I would go to his studio and he would do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I was still in my nervousness and right and it was filmed, right? So then I said cut because I just needed to get together, right? And so Twin would encourage me, Edwina, you can do this, Edwina, take your time, Edwina, just relax, Edwina. So he molded and shaped me into, being able to just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Don't concentrate on the camera. Just act like you're having a conversation with me. I was like, oh, okay, Twin. And so who would have known that after that 3-minute commentary that aired for about maybe a couple months or so, and the public was so impressed with what I was sharing, and they asked Twin, can you keep on a little longer? So Twin came back to me and said, Edwina, I would like you to do I think he said he said an hour show. I was like, an hour? Man, 3 minutes almost killed me. I said, an hour, Twin? He said, yes. He said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to show you, you know what I mean? And, Edwina, you can do this. And man, I was sweating bullets, and oh my goodness. I mean, what am I going to say in a whole hour, right? And so it was amazing with the commentaries. I had to write them out. But with the live show, it had to come from the heart. They didn't have a teleprompt. I didn't have a script. I just needed to open up my mouth, let the Spirit do what it does, and tell the truth. And do you know that he received so many compliments? He received so many praises that he was like baffled. He said, "Girl, I don't know what you got, but yes, I do. I know what you got. You got something that's going to help the community. You have something that's going to make the positive outshine the negative. Keep doing what you're doing. And guess what? I'm going to be by your side the whole entire time." So, okay. Need I say more? So years later, doing my TV show called Choosing a New Way of Life, helping Twin with the video production workshops, helping Twin go out on site to do interview in on site and off site, right? Going to special events. I was connected to Twin by the hip. Anytime and every time he needed someone or help, Edwina, yes, Twin. Edwina, I'm here, Twin. Edwina, I'm ready, Twin. Edwina, I'm on my way. This man, this godly man, prepared me through God's direction for something I would not have ever imagined. And that is that I would be chosen. I would be chosen out of his family, out of all the people he knew, out of all the people who helped him, that I was chosen to take care of Twin when we realized how sick he was, but never admitted it. When Twin was taken to the hospital, I was by his side. After they diagnosed him, found out what was going on, they placed him in a room. I went there. I set up my bed in his room simultaneously while taking care of my niece at my home. And at that time, Twin couldn't talk, but he could hear. And I would talk with Twin. I would play the Spiritual Revival Hour gospel songs. And every so often you see a little tear come out, right? And as he began to gain consciousness, right, and open up his eyes, we engaged in some serious conversations. Yes. And the main thing was, now that he is in this position, who is going to carry on his legacy? Yes. And I had specific conversations with him regarding any and all of his matters, because his family was going through something in Philadelphia and they were unable to be there like I was able to by the grace of God. And so I spent a lot of time with Twin while he was in the hospital. And so I got my instructions, I got my directions, I recorded some of his wishes and all, right? Because I understood the transition process. But I understood that God was preparing to bring him on. And I understood that I was chosen. I understood that. So it wasn't no hesitation, no burden, none of that, none of that. Oh, hell no, it wasn't. No, it was come on, Twin, come on, Twin. And so the one time that they had moved him from the floor to the hospice floor, it was the assumption that he would just remain there until he transitioned. And so when he didn't transition with the allotted time that they set, they asked, well, what does the family plan to do? Is he going to an assistant living? And before she could say anything, I said, no. He's coming home with me. I'm bringing Twin home. I am bringing Twin home to my house. His final days are going to be in my house with me by his side. Voila. That's where you see that hand, those hands. And you can't see it Instagram, but Twin is holding my hand. I'm holding his hand. Got all my instructions, knew what to do, knew what to say based on what he told me to do. And he said, out of all the people that I could have picked, I choose you, Edwina. I choose you. And I'm telling you, who would have ever thought that this man who set the stage for me to share my experience, my strength, and my hope from the devastating disease of alcoholism and mental illness, to be set on a platform on social media to share with the community, the world, that people like us do recover. It was Twin who God had blessed with so many skills when it came to media, right? And so this man laying downstairs in the hospital bed, grasping my hand, right? He was not coherent, but he could yet hear. And already had my orders. And people came in and out to say their goodbyes and whatnot. And so now, when he passed away, the board of directors of CCC needed to find a replacement for Twin. I told him what Twin said to me. I shared his wishes. And every so often, I would check in, what's going on. And I mean, I'm not even going to rehash all of that. But last night at the board meeting, after going through this and that, they cast the request for a vote to elect me as the new executive director of Community Communications Corporation, as well as Don Thomas was voted in as the director of programs and productions. So when I tell you that recovery is truly about being prepared for things yet to come, trust me, I know what I'm talking about. You have your own story and I have mine. So when it comes to family obligations, doesn't have to be blood. Most times it's not. This time it wasn't. But because Twin and I understood spiritually that we are all big one family, and our obligation is to take care of one another. So I am humbled and I am honored to be given the title of the executive director of Twin's company, his heart, his passion, his life. Community Communications Corporation, always making the positive outshine the negative. So I'm going to close now. And I'm going to say, on behalf of CCC Board of Directors, on behalf of the City of Wilmington's Mayor Office, City Council franchise agreement, right, with Comcast, right, that I will be carrying the torch with Don Thomas right by my side. I'm administrative, executive. I do all the big stuff. But equally important is the big stuff that Don Thomas will be doing in terms of programs and productions. So when I say, Twin, thank you for putting CCC in our hands. We will continue your legacy. And I want to say to the community that now that I've been appointed the new director, executive director, we will be planning the Twin B. Brown Celebration of Life extravaganza in the month of August, the month that he was born and the month that a lot of things has happened. So I'm going to be reaching out to any and everybody, from Joe Biden on down to the homeless person that's on the street. Yes. Inviting them all to this celebration of life for Dr. Benjamin Twin Brown, who spent over 70 years in community service, providing all forms of programs, workshops, projects, making sure the positive outshines the negative. So on behalf of my God, on behalf of Twin, on behalf of CCC, I humbly accept the position and promise, with God's help as my leader, my director, we will take CCC on a venture that Twin couldn't even imagine because he taught us well. So have a blessed day. If it's God's will that we are reunited tomorrow, I will be here. But let me at least share with you what the reading for today was, okay? Let me do that. I'm not going to shortchange you on that, all right? So the Alcoholics Anonymous Daily Reflection reading reads as such. A spiritual life which does not include family obligations may not be so perfect after all. A spiritual life which does not include ... family obligations may not be so perfect after all. The person in recovery writes, I can be doing great in the program, applying it at meetings, at work, and in service activities, and find that things have gone to pieces at home. I expect my loved ones to understand, but they cannot. I expect them to see and value my progress, but they don't, unless I show them. Do I neglect their needs and desires for my attention and concern? When I'm around them, am I irritable or boring? Are my amends a mumbled sorry, or do they take the form of patience and tolerance? Do I preach to them, trying to reform or fix them? Have I ever really cleaned house with them? The spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 83. So you see why I utilize these spiritual principles, tools, and resources to address my brokenness and being broke, and to apply them to all earthly matters. God, God, your grace and mercy brought me through. I'm living this moment because of you. I want to praise you and thank you too, for it was your grace and your mercy that brought me through. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, and now I see. I love you, you love me. We are one big old family, with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? Be blessed. Help somebody today. Be of service to somebody today. Reverend Dr. Benjamin Twinby Brown, yes, I love you, and I thank you for placing CCC in my hands. To God be all the glory. Have a blessed day.